here's how we're going to structure this video, because this video is going to be all about roses. I'm going to tell you the exact roses that I grow here in Texas. I'm in the north central Texas area. I'm like an hour north of Waco. I'm going to talk to you about the difference between grafted and own root roses, because all the roses that I grow here are own root, and I mostly only order them from one place. And I have found the quality to be exceptional. And all the roses that I'm going to name here, you can get on this website. And I have chosen these roses specifically because I think, you know, when you're growing roses in Texas, at least in my opinion, it can be hard to find the one that blooms continuously, right? We have some roses that will put on a big bloom in the spring when the weather is nice, and then they will just sit there. I have several roses that I would recommend personally to you. I'm going to tell you all about the website, and I'm going to show you them in the ground the way that they're growing right now, and we're also going to plant 2 brand new ones. So let's get started with the first ones. Actually, you know what? First, do y'all want to check in on some of the things that we have planted in the last like month or so? They're looking so good. Oh, sorry about the sun. They look so good. We planted this sedum. Doesn't it look so good? You can tell it's a lot, just, you know, you can tell it's a lot perkier and settling in and rooting in. It looks completely different than when we planted it. When we planted it, they were all just kind of laying flat. See them all dotted around where we put them? They're all in front of this little mini water garden, which I'm going to do a video on making one from scratch because I do need another one in one of my brand new flower beds. I try to have a water source in every single flower bed, but they're just looking so good. With the salvia gregae and the spent autumn joy sedum and this gorgeous white salvia. This area is looking so good right now. Absolutely love it. We did actually finally get some rain, and the temperatures cooled down quite a bit, which I'm not a fan of the cooler temperatures, but I know that we did need the rain. We needed it real bad. Okay, let's look at our first rose that I've look at this Golden Jubilee Agastache. Isn't that beautiful? This was the one that I was telling y'all that I started from seed. That while, look how big that leaf is. That while it was a seedling in its little 4-inch pot, I absolutely hated it. It looked terrible. Well, it just wanted to go in the ground, as most plants do, obviously. But I didn't really like this foliage, because to me it looked a little bit sick. But now that it's in the ground, oh, I'm a fan. I'm a fan because look at how that purple, there's a bug on it. Look at how that purple just shines in that foliage. It's so beautiful. So little baby lavender right there, rosemary, and here's our rose. Look at that. Hold on, y'all. Look at this right behind me. We're going to come back to this, I promise. Can y'all hear that? The bees are just covering down on this bulbine and Agastache. Look at them. They're so busy. It's so nice to see them because it's been so cold. I just love hearing their little busy bodies everywhere. Little guy. Anyway, so this rose is new to me this year. This is his first year in the ground. And this is a Crazy Love. And it is a Sunbelt series of roses. And it comes out this stunning orange color. Yeah, it's a little misshapen because when it was in the bud stage, it got eaten on. I'm so not worried about it. The color is still absolutely spectacular. And then as the bloom ages and it gets more sun on its petals, it turns kind of speckly hot pink, which I think is gorgeous also. Okay, I had to come back over here into the shade of this vine because the sun is at a really weird angle right now. The time changes this weekend, so yay, not. The planting site on that Crazy Love that I just showed y'all, it's a Sunbelt called Crazy Love. And when I planted it, it's on solid limestone. I live on solid limestone bedrock here. And sometimes when I put plants in the ground, I feel like I'm putting them in a stone coffin. Truly, like a little limestone bowl. Here you go for it. And when I planted that rose, I was like, ugh, it's done so well. I can't say enough about the toughness of that rose. I've enjoyed it the most out of any rose in this garden, just because of the way the colors change throughout the season. Comes out orange, true orange, and then it turns hot pink as the bloom ages and it gets more light on the petals. It's an awesome rose, and it stays fairly small. I want to say the top out at 4x4. I'll put all the descriptions of these roses in the caption so that you can read through them and refer back to what I am talking about. But let's look at the other Sunbelt that I have in my garden, which is called a Savannah, and it's a very pretty pink color. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And look how healthy this rose is. All this new growth since it started raining, some new buds on it. Stunning, absolutely stunning. The last one that we are going to talk about, and one of my absolute favorites, and one that I've had the longest, is called the Garden Sun. When you prune it well, the Garden Sun's first bloom is, you can see it from the road, okay? It is so spectacular. And if you give it enough water, it will bloom the entire season. Now that we have run through our favorites that currently grow in this garden, let's plant 2 new ones, because I have 2 that are new to me. They are both Sunbelts, and they're both South Africa's. A gorgeous, yellow's my favorite color. So another beautiful yellow shrub type rose. Okay, which ones do we have here? What's that say? Soul Sister. And that's a mermaid. That's a climber. Where is it? There's 1. There's 2. Okay. This here is a brand new flower bed. I just dug it out like a month ago. It's got leaves, it's got wood chips on it, and those are just going to continue to break down throughout the fall and winter months. But I'm going to go ahead and put some of the structural elements of this flower bed in. And this juniper has been needing to go in the ground forever, but since we finally got rain and the temperatures dropped a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the ground. And I think I told y'all about this juniper in the last video, that I got an incredible deal on this juniper. It was like $45. It's a number, is that a number 5 or a number 7? Here, look, for 45 bucks, a number 7 Hollywood juniper. And I really have been looking for a Hollywood juniper. It's just, you know, trees are pretty pricey. It obviously got marked down several times before we got down to 45. Here's our tag. I come around so I can shade it for y'all. It's hardy down to zone 5, 30 feet tall, 15 feet wide. But look at this very unique, like windswept, and it kind of looks like an octopus, or like it's underwater when it has entered this, the more mature stage, where you can very clearly see this very unique growth habit. I think right now while it's in its pot, it just looks like a juniper, which is fine. But once it puts on some size, it'll start to look like this weird waving squid shape. And I would like to grow this more like as a specimen. I don't want it to be a hedge or anything. I just want it to be at the back of this flower bed. A very pretty evergreen, makes these little berries. I'm very excited for this plant. And I think I'm going to put it right here at the edge. And if it does come over, we can always make this bigger. We got a long way to go until we hit the fence. And then our roses, these are both Sunbelt South Africas. And this one I ordered online. I just got it the other day. That's why it doesn't have any leaves, because they will defoliate. Heirloom roses will defoliate the rose before they put it in the mail to you, so that the plant is not as stressed while it's in the mail. And this little skewer thing, it's not doing anything. It's just part of the packaging to keep the canes from getting broken in shipment. But this arrived from Heirloom Roses just the other day, and Heirloom Roses is where I get most of my roses. Like 90% of my roses, I get them from Heirloom, because their selection is great. The roses are always exceptionally healthy, and I think they're very well priced. This one is also a Sunbelt South Africa, but I got it at Bonnie's. And Bonnie's is a garden center in Waco. It's way off, like kind of out in the sticks, off the beaten path. A fabulous shopping experience. That garden center is so beautiful and so peaceful, and they have so many beautiful, healthy looking plants. And I was very excited to see a Sunbelt at that garden center, because you don't often see them. I've never encountered a Sunbelt at like a Home Depot or a Walmart or a Lowe's. You know, you can tell the people that work there love plants. The people that own it understand plants. And if you're ever in Waco or going through, Waco's truly kind of like It's kind of like a garden center destination, at least for me. I'm about an hour from there, and it's worth the drive because Waco has several great nurseries. Bonnie's is one of them. Green Life is one of them. And you can find really, really good, very healthy, very well-priced plants there. And that's where I found this Sunbelt, was at Bonnie's. But I'd like to put them kind of midway through the flower bed because they are going to get some pretty good size on them, and I want you to be able to see them from the driveway because they're yellow and bright and beautiful. So I think I'll put them like, I'm going to put them together because I want them to be kind of a statement. Maybe like right there. Maybe a little bit further apart. I don't necessarily want them to intermingle. Roses are one of those things where you want to have good airflow all around their leaves, their foliage, you know. Get good breeze on them, keep them dry, keep them healthy. Regardless of their breeding, you still want to space them correctly. And I love to plant things very close together, but roses are one of those things, almost kind of like lavender, where if we get too friendly with the neighboring plants around it, it can make the plant start to decline really quick. So I just want to be careful with how I place these. There, I think that should be fine. Let's get these in the ground. Okay, let us do this tree first. I'll be very interested to see what this root ball is like. I think it's been in this pot for a very long time. We might have to help its roots out a little bit. And this soil is nice and wet. I don't really want to overwhelm this juniper with too much water. They're very, very drought tolerant plants, and I don't want to. Now that the temperatures have cooled down so much and we have the time change this weekend, we don't want it to get waterlogged and sick, right? Because as we go into fall, our plants are just not utilizing as much water. Let's just see. Let's see what kind of condition these roots are in, and we'll go from there. This thing has fallen over so many times. When it was over on the back of the house, it was just, oh, that's not bad. It was falling over and falling over and falling over and falling over. I felt so bad for it, but it's got this lean. You'll see when we put it in the ground, it's got a bit of a lean. This is really dry. My hose is not going to stretch that far. I'm going to need to go get a watering can to soak this guy. It's covered in roly-polies though. Let's dig our hole first, and then we'll worry about the watering can. Full of worms. That's good. Get in there. So it can be a bit deceiving because I have added a layer of mulch, but I feel like this is a good depth because I have, you know, trees have a natural flare where the trunk meets the root system of the plant. It flares out a bit as those two sections meet. And I don't want to bury that. It's very important that that be above soil level. Here, let me show you. Can you see how the trunk gets skinny and then it gets fat right down here? It flares slightly where the roots begin. That must be above the soil level or the tree will not thrive in the long term. So that's well above the soil level. I feel pretty comfortable with that. So we just need to water this guy in and then backfill just with our native soil. On our way to get our watering can, let's look at this mist flower. Wow. I told you guys that the next time you saw it, some of the blooms would be fading. It's still a little chilly out here, I think, for the pollinators, but this guy is just peak. This is a fragrant mist flower. And it will do this big bloom every fall. Absolutely gorgeous. Actually, I just noticed his bucket's over here, so we'll just use his bucket for our watering can. Oh, you okay? I'm sorry. This is how you carry a bucket full of water. And also how you get beast mode strong in the garden. Oh my God, that's so heavy. Hold on. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Get all of our soil back in there. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see this tree grow. It's gonna look so good right here. So good. My eventual plan is to have this whole side of the driveway be a flower bed, but you know, we'll get there. But it just always feels good to put trees in, you know, especially in the fall when I know they're gonna have an easy time and I don't need to be as worried about them as I would if I were doing them in spring, because you know, our spring is so short and sometimes our summers, you know, even early summer can be very brutal. And then I'm worrying about this tree that I have my heart set on doing well. Unfortunately, this appears to be one of those junipers where the when the growth comes off, it's incredibly sharp. Here's our first one. Howie. Okay, this mulch is full of some kind of thorny vine, greenbrier or something like that. That's okay. It all breaks down the same. Can't win them all. Yeah, there's greenbrier all in here. It's fine. It's fine. We're definitely gonna need another bucket of water. Darn, I thought this soil would be wetter than that. You know what? I have a drip line right over here, and I'll probably just I'll dig both of the holes and put the roots in the holes, and then I'll just turn my drip line on and come use it like a hose. I'm a genius. Okay, so a little bit more about these roses. Once upon a time, I had a grafted rose, a Zephyrin grafted rose. And a Zephyrin is a very popular climbing rose, and sometimes they can be bought en route and sometimes they're bought grafted. And the reason why some roses come grafted is because the grower of the rose has decided to put a very desirable trait of the foliage above the ground, whether that be shape, habit, bloom color, whatever, petal count, and put that with a rootstock that also shows very desirable characteristics such as cold hardiness, drought tolerance, just something that's very, very tough, a very tough rootstock. And I had a Zephyrin like that, growing up a dead, dying tree, and then Winter Storm Uri came around, which Winter Storm Uri is the February 2021 winter storm that absolutely devastated Texas. Like Texas, our infrastructure, our homes, our plants were not built to be at 0 degrees and then stay very, very, very cold for several days. Here, we didn't have power for several days, and we didn't have hot water for about a month. It devastated our plumbing, and that's getting off. We got off pretty easy compared to a lot of people who really got, I mean, yeah. That was a very bad winter, century winter event, maybe even like 1,000-year weather event, we hope. But my rose lost its graft that winter. And obviously, if it loses its graft, I don't really want it anymore because it starts only growing from the rootstock, which is not what I bought, right? I didn't buy a red blooming rose. I bought a Zephyrin, and the rootstock, the rootstock was a Dr. Huey, as a lot of grafted roses are grown on Dr. Huey rootstock. And I just, ever since that time, have kind of worried when I have a grafted rose, that if we have a hard winter, the graft will be damaged, or, you know, worrying about how far do you bury the graft, do you not bury the graft. I think there's two different schools of thought on that, on whether you should bury the graft. These roses from Heirloom are 100% grown on their own roots. There is no graft. And those roses that are grown on their own roots tend to be healthier. And there's no graft to worry about. The plant just, it is what it is. It's an own root rose. Not only that, but every rose that I've gotten from Heirloom Roses has just been so healthy. And it's difficult to find the roses that they sell here where I'm at. I mean, I live in a very rural area, and it's really nice to be able to just shop online. Let's put this guy, that's too low. So I have a discount code for Heirloom Roses. And by the way, I'm not talking all this stuff about Heirloom Roses just because I have a discount code for y'all. The discount code is so that you can save money on buying roses, because right now is a very good time to have live plants shipped to your house, and it's also a really good time to plant roses. I'm talking about Heirloom Roses because before I ever started doing online stuff with gardening, I had all Heirloom roses because I'd heard about them from someone else, and I started ordering them. I've been growing their roses for years. They have phenomenal customer service. It's not something that is, it's not a company that's new to me. It's beloved by a lot of gardeners, and they're very, very trusted. So you can, the only thing that I would say that a lot of people don't mention is, I'll show you what I mean here in just a second, but get the name tag. Go ahead and get the metal name tag for the rose. You're not going to remember what kind of rose it is, no matter how many times you say that you will, because I've been there, done that, and you might as well just get the name tag on the rose. See? Gorgeous. Okay, here's my drip line. I'm just gonna pop this zip tie off and grab the end, and then go turn the drip on for maybe like 1 minute and fill these holes up. Okay, I had to go grab y'all because there's a snake in my irrigation box, and he's so cute. Look at him. Aww, he's looking at us. Cutie. There we go. Get that all watered in. And this guy. And it would actually be like mean if I didn't tell y'all about, I didn't get this rose from Heirloom, but they do sell it, and I would highly recommend it. This rose is so gorgeous and so healthy, and the scent, like the fragrance on this rose, is crazy. It is so crazy. It is so fragrant and so gorgeous. It's called a Beverly. It's a hybrid tea. And I checked Heirloom Rose's website. They do sell it. Look at her. Oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. An absolutely spectacular rose. As you can see, very healthy, very healthy. One question that I get asked a lot about roses is, can I grow such and such rose in part shade? Listen, when you go to the website, go to Heirloom Roses, and you can filter for things like shade, or filter for things like color, or filter for things like certain growth characteristics. So go over there, see what they have. I know that they have some part sun roses. I don't have any part sun roses. All my roses, they need full all day hot sun. I understand when I was just planting that it looks shady. The light is just different this time of year, okay? During the summer and spring, That's a full sun area, all day full, hot sun. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about heirloom roses or roses in general, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Okay, while we were over here talking about this rose, I thought, okay, listen, some of y'all are gonna hate this because I've heard people get kind of, not everyone gardens this way. I understand this, and when I show you what I'm about to show you, some of y'all might be saying that's dumb. Listen, I love hornworms. I know that might be a bold statement, hard to hear. A lot of people hate hornworms. I understand. I think they're absolutely adorable. They're eating my desert willow. I think it's cute. I love their moth form. I want to see the moth form, but I can't see the moth form if I'm destroying the caterpillar form. So let me show them to you. Look at how big he is. Oh my gosh, he's so cool. There's another one. They're so neat. There was 3. I'm sure he's still here. I just can't see him. Anyway, on the plant they shall stay. They creep off and pupate and turn into moths and stuff like that whenever they get full, or a bird is going to find them. Either way, I'll keep checking on them to make sure that they're okay.